So, are drill music videos a crucial outlet or an incitement to violence? And should social media sites be censoring them? To debate this, I'm joined by former intelligence officer Philip Ingram and by writer and radio host Novar. Philip and Novar, thank you so much for joining us. Philip, I'm going to start with you. Tell me what you know and what you think about drill, and can you name a few artists for me?
Well, I can start off by saying I can't name any of the artists on drill music, but drill, you start off with a name. It's a name that's associated with what American slang to do with shooting someone with a machine gun. You drill them. And we look at the crime that there's been in London this year alone. There's 62 people have died through shootings or stabbings. It is designed as a piece of music through its very name to incite violence. And you see that in the words, the lyrics, and the gestures that come out from a lot of the artists. It's not the sole cause of the rise in violence that we're seeing in London, but it is part of the cause that's there.
Novar, what's wrong with this decision by YouTube? It does incite violence, as Philip was saying.
I don't agree that it incites violence for a start, but I think the actual problem with the decision from YouTube is that they're shutting down young people's voices. These artists actually are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and they're using music to let out those expressions of what they're feeling for while living under a government that isn't providing anything, very lacking mental health services and youth services.
Philip, isn't this about the demonisation of black culture, really? You've got old white men looking at the symptoms of a particular problem and not at the root causes.
Well, I wouldn't call Cressida Dick an old white man. It's nothing to do with racism whatsoever. It's looking at the lyrics that are there. The Metropolitan Police have highlighted concerns that they've got with a number of videos. They've brought those to attention of YouTube, who've looked at them with their privacy policy and their policy to do with content, and YouTube have made the decision to take 30 of them down.
But arguably, older people have always had a problem with the music of younger generations. What about things like punk and, before that even, rock and roll?
Well, punk and rock and roll, I grew up in the punk era and the rock and roll era, and I think as a youngster I had problems with punk. I don't think age comes into whenever it's making these sorts of decisions. It's the police intelligence teams on the ground will have been speaking to people and trying to look at what is helping to incite the violence that we're seeing. And they're looking at every aspect of that violence, and this is just one part of it.
Novar, drill is becoming very successful. Some videos have millions of views. You can't deny that that success could influence some people, perhaps not for the artists themselves. For them, it's a reflection of real life. But what about the younger kids listening to it who are potentially influenced by it?
If we look at artists like Giggs, who's a UK rap artist who's had a very great success over the last 5 to 10 years. He started with the similar type of content what these young people are speaking about. He was blocked by the police from having his career flourish. The 696 form was used to stop him from performing in the same way these videos are now being blocked. That form was removed because it was deemed racist, so they had to remove it, and he pushed through and managed to actually have a successful career. He's now influencing young people to be businessmen, to create businesses, to create jobs for their communities. He's actually saving thousands of lives every day, even if his content stays negative, just by showing that he can do something else.
Philip, isn't this an issue, actually? One rap artist as well, drill artist rather, 67, he was banned from appearing in the media by a court injunction. So you've got the police effectively stopping these people from having a legitimate means of making money.
Well, it wouldn't be a legitimate means. The police haven't stopped them, a court stopped them, so there'll be something in law that's doing that. I don't know the specifics about the case, but what we're seeing here are, I'm sure not every drill artist is inciting violence, but some of them are, and the police have identified those ones and have asked YouTube to take them down.
A lot of this music, Novar, doesn't hide its contempt for the police. No wonder the Met shutting it down. Surely this had to happen at some point.
The contempt for the police comes from the social conditions these young people are living in. And the problem is, it's not a solution to take music videos away. Violence is going to continue. In the most violent cities of Mexico, they don't have a music issue to blame. So it's going to continue. Stop and search is not a solution. I don't feel like the police are actually looking for solutions. I feel like they are just trying to villainize young black people with the intention of action and gentrification in the areas in London that they live in.
Speaking of black culture, Eminem, a white rapper, he was rapping about murdering his wife 20 years ago, and he is still celebrated. Why is there a discrepancy here?
Well, the discrepancy, here we're looking at what contravenes YouTube's policy with regard to content. And Eminem's content, I don't know. I haven't compared his lyrics to what YouTube's policy is. But the police are not demonizing a particular culture. They're not demonizing a particular community. There are wider community issues here. And I think it highlights that there are wider community issues here with community health, with other support that there is, with other things for young people to do. And where you're seeing them using music as an outlet, that's one route. But when that crosses the line, and remember there's 62 youths dead this year, you have to stop it somehow.
Didn't this all stem from a video that did incite someone to go and stab someone? The Met Police, that's why they took it down. M-Trap, he rapped about knife crime, and then he went and actually stabbed a 15-year-old to death.
I'm not sure the specifics of that actual part of it, and I know there has been other cases where that's happened, but the actual truth is those things are happening anyway, and if it wasn't in a music video, it would have happened in the street. It may have happened face-to-face in many situations where it could have been worse.
Philip, last question. Isn't this all down to austerity cuts? Isn't the problem deeper than music, and the root causes is actually a result of cuts to things like youth clubs and youth programmes?
Oh, certainly the cuts will be having an effect in the community, and Cressida Dick has actually said that cuts across have been having an effect. There needs to be more to help young people, but also there needs to be more within the communities to help police themselves. If they don't want policing imposed on them, police themselves within the communities and stop this.
Novar, quickly, what can drill artists do? Where can they go? Can they go elsewhere if their music is taken down from YouTube?
I don't know. They just have to push on, I suppose, and do the music in whatever way they can. I think the answer, you're right, is to address poverty, to address issues of austerity, and to help those communities. The music will change when the environment changes.
Philip Ingram and Novar, thank you very much for debating this issue with us on RT UK.